Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into something I think we all wonder about sometimes. Like, how good is our English, really?
Yeah.
We got this super interesting video someone sent in about figuring out your English fluency based on, like, real-world stuff, not just, textbook exercises.
Right, right.
And I was thinking, maybe some of you listening are getting ready for a job interview where English is important, or you're just curious about how to, like, level up your language skills.
Yeah, for sure.
Either way, get ready for some serious aha moments because this video is not your typical grammar lesson,
It's
okay?
definitely not.
It jumps right into some really cool ideas.
Yeah,
So for starters, it throws out this whole idea that you need perfect English.
exactly.
And I think we all kind of get stuck in that trap a little bit.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
we think we need to sound like a textbook to be taken seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But this video makes a really great point that even native speakers make mistakes all the time.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
So it's not about being perfect. It's about using your skills to connect with people and communicate your idea confidently.
It's about confidence, right?
Exactly.
Like not stressing over every little slip up.
One thing that really hit home for me was this idea of catching yourself understanding English without subtitles.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Have you ever had that moment, like you're watching a movie and you suddenly realize you haven't even glanced at the subtitles for like the past 5 minutes?
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's like a light bulb goes on.
Yeah, it's like, wow, I'm actually understanding this.
Such a cool feeling.
Yeah, it is. And the video talks about how our brains are actually working at a really high level when that happens.
Really.
Yeah, we're taking in information from all these different sources, like the words, we recognize the context of the scene, the actor's expressions, and we're piecing it all together without even realizing it.
It's like our brain is doing all this work behind the scenes.
Totally. It's amazing.
So that's like a major milestone, right? When you can watch a movie and not feel like you need those subtitles as a crutch.
Definitely a sign of progress.
And you know what the video actually suggests? Starting with shows or movies you've already seen in your native language.
Oh, interesting.
Because you're already familiar with the plot and the characters, so it's easier to follow along in English.
That makes sense.
And then you can kind of gradually wean yourself off the subtitles as you get more comfortable.
It's like training wheels for your ears.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so another thing I found super fascinating was the section on idioms.
Oh, yeah, idioms.
Like, I caught myself using the phrase spill the beans the other day, and it just came out so naturally.
You didn't even have to think about it.
I didn't even think about it. It was just there.
That's awesome.
And the video talks about how that's a sign that you're really starting to internalize the language.
Yeah, like you're moving beyond just memorizing vocabulary words,
Right.
and you're starting to understand the nuances and the cultural context behind these expressions.
It's like you're picking up on the flavor of the language.
Right, like you're getting the inside jokes.
Exactly.
Which is so important.
Yeah, because idioms, they're not just about the literal meaning of the word.
Right, they have this whole other layer of meaning.
Like, break a leg doesn't actually mean you want someone to break their leg.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
It's like a good luck wish.
Exactly.
So if you find yourself using idioms without even thinking about it, that's a pretty good sign you're on the right track.
Yeah, it shows you're moving beyond textbook English and into, like, the real world of fluency.
Speaking of real-world challenges, the video also talks about something that I know a lot of us struggle with, and I'm sure you've thought about this too.
What's that?
Talking to native English speakers.
Oh, yeah.
I've been there, like, feeling intimidated, worried about making mistakes, freezing up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It could be so nerve-wracking.
Yeah, absolutely. But the video really emphasizes how important it is to push past that fear.
Like, you just go for it.
Yeah, because it's in those real conversations that you learn so much.
You pick up on the things that textbooks just can't teach.
Right, like slang, regional accents, even just the way people use their tone of voice to convey different meanings.
It's like a whole other level of learning.
It's like real-time feedback, you
Yeah.
know? And it helps you adjust your English to different situations and audiences.
Okay, so this next part blew my mind, and I want to hear your thoughts on it.
I'm intrigued.
The video points out how impressive it is that we can often understand multiple English accents.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it. We're talking about American, British, Australian Indian, countless others,
Just so much variety.
and they all sound so different.
Right, like different pronunciations, different rhythms, even different words sometimes.
Yeah, and yet somehow we manage to decipher them.
It's amazing.
Like our ears are code breakers.
Totally. And the video explains that being able to navigate all these different accents is a sign of how much exposure you've had to authentic English.
Through movies, podcasts, conversations, all of it.
It all adds up.
And it shows that you're not just learning the rules of the language, but you're developing an intuitive sense of how it's actually used in the real world.
Yeah, you're picking up on the patterns and the variations?
Honestly, I used to struggle with British humor. Like, I just didn't get it.
Yeah, it can be tricky.
But now I find myself downing along and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm actually understanding this.
That's awesome.
It's such a cool feeling to realize how far you've come.
It's like you've unlocked a new level of English.
Okay, so building on that idea of understanding different accents,
Yeah.
the video makes another really important point.
Okay, what is it?
Embracing imperfection.
Ah, yes.
Have you noticed how much easier it is to learn when you're not afraid to make a mistake?
Oh, absolutely. It's like a huge weight lifted off your shoulder.
It's like you unlock this whole new level of confidence and willingness to experiment,
Right, because when you're not so worried about sounding perfect,
right?
you're more open to just trying things out and seeing what happens.
It's like you're giving yourself permission to learn and grow,
Exactly, and the video puts it really well by saying that everyone makes mistakes.
even native speakers,
Even native speakers. So instead of seeing mistakes as failures,
right?
we should view them as opportunities to learn and improve.
It's like a shift in mindset from perfection to progress.
Exactly, and that takes so much pressure off.
It really does.
Because suddenly you're not trying to be this perfect English speaker who doesn't exist.
Right.
You're just focusing on communicating your ideas, connecting with people, and enjoying the process of learning.
And that, I think, sets the stage for the video's discussion of like what excellent English actually means.
Yeah, how do we define that?
Because it's not necessarily about sounding like a native speaker or having perfect grammar.
It's more nuanced than that.
And that's where the video gets really interesting.
Okay, tell me more.
It challenges us to rethink our whole concept of fluency
I like where this is going.
and to consider excellence based on our own individual context and progress.
So not just some rigid standard.
Right, like what might be excellent for one person
Yeah.
could be completely different for someone else.
That makes sense.
You know, when I first heard that, I was a little skeptical, I have to admit,
I can see why.
because I thought, well, doesn't that kind of set the bar too low?
Right, like how do we push ourselves to really improve if excellence is relative?
Exactly. But then the video gives some really compelling examples.
Okay, I'm listening. Like it talks about someone learning English later in life who maybe only reaches like a basic level of communication.
Oh, yeah.
But for them, that achievement
Right.
represents like incredible effort
Yeah,
and a huge personal victory.
totally.
So in their context,
Yeah.
that is a form of excellence,
I see what you mean.
you know?
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's about recognizing their own unique journey
Right.
and the challenges they've overcome.
And not comparing themselves to someone who maybe had a completely different starting point.
Exactly. It's about celebrating those individual achievements.
I love that perspective.
Yeah, it's inspiring, right?
It is.
And the video also talks about someone from a disadvantaged background
Okay.
who achieves like conversational fluency despite maybe not having access to the same resources as others.
Right?
And that's another example of excellence
Yeah.
because it demonstrates incredible resilience and dedication.
Like they had to work so much harder to get to that level.
Absolutely. And that deserves to be recognized and celebrated.
It really challenges this idea that there's only one definition of what it means to be good at English.
Yeah, it throws out the rule book.
It's more about your personal journey, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And the video makes a great point that even when we reach a level of fluency where we're like, okay, I'm happy with this,
Right.
there's always room to grow.
It could always learn more.
Exactly. Language is constantly evolving.
Yeah, it's a living thing.
There are always new words, new expressions, new ways of using the language.
It never gets boring.
Never.
So excellence isn't like a destination you arrive at.
Right. It's not like checking a box.
It's more like this ongoing process.
Yeah, like a journey of continuous learning and discovery.
Which is kind of encouraging, actually.
I think so too.
Because it takes the pressure off needing to be perfect.
Yeah. You're not striving for some unattainable idea.
Right.
You're just enjoying the process of learning and expanding your skills.
And allowing yourself to make mistakes along the way.
Exactly. Mistakes may be part of the process.
You know, one thing I sometimes struggle with is staying motivated.
Oh, yeah, I feel that.
Like, there are days when I'm like, I'm not making any progress.
Yeah, those plateaus are tough.
What does the video say about that?
Well, it actually talks about the importance of mixing things up.
Like trying new things.
Exactly, like finding new ways to engage with English that feel fresh and exciting.
Okay.
So instead of just like grinding through grammar exercises,
Right?
maybe you join a language exchange group.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Or you start listening to English language music.
I love music.
Or you watch a movie without subtitles.
We talked about that.
We did. Or you even try cooking a new recipe in English.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's about finding those things that spark your passion and make you excited to learn.
So it's not just about studying, it's about immersing yourself in the culture.
Exactly, making English a part of your life.
That makes a lot of sense.
And the video reminds us that language learning isn't just about achieving a certain level of proficiency.
Right?
It's about opening ourselves up to new experiences, connecting with people from different cultures.
Expanding our horizons.
Exactly.
You know, listening to you talk about all this has really shifted my perspective.
In what way?
I like what it means to be fluent in English.
Yeah.
It's not about this perfect ideal.
Right. It's not about being a native speaker.
It's about finding your own voice.
Yeah.
Expressing yourself confidently.
Right.
Embracing the journey.
The ups and downs.
All of it.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I think you've given us a lot to think about today.
I hope so.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to a whole new way of thinking about English fluency.
I'm glad to hear that.
It's not about striving for some unattainable ideal.
Right.
It's about finding joy in the journey, celebrating our progress, connecting with others in meaningful ways.
That's what it's all about.
Speaking of connection,
Yeah.
what about those of us who are learning English for specific purposes?
Oh, like for work or travel?
Exactly. Like, how does this idea of contextual excellence apply in those situations?
That's a great question, and the video actually offers some really helpful insights on that. Well, it recognizes that sometimes, we do need to meet specific benchmarks.
Right.
Like if you're taking a job interview
Yeah.
or an English proficiency exam. And in those cases, it suggests focusing on the skills that are most relevant to those particular situations.
Okay, so it's like tailoring your learning to your goals.
Exactly.
So if I'm prepping for a job interview, I should probably brush up on, clear pronunciation, industry-specific vocabulary.
Yeah.
Even if I haven't, mastered every single grammar rule under the sun.
Exactly, because excellence in that context means being able to communicate your qualifications effectively and confidently.
Makes sense. It's about being strategic.
Right. Prioritize what you need for that specific situation.
But honestly, throughout this whole video, what really stuck with me
Yeah.
was this idea of letting go of embarrassment.
Ah, yeah.
I know so many language learners struggle with that.
It's such a common barrier.
It's huge.
But the video does a great job of breaking down that fear,
Yeah.
reminding us that, hey, everyone makes mistakes, native speakers too.
Right.
And those mistakes, they're actually valuable learning opportunities.
I remember when I first started traveling and trying to use my English in real life situations.
Yeah.
I was so self-conscious,
Oh, I bet.
worried about, saying the wrong thing or sounding silly.
Makes sense.
But the more I talk to people,
Yeah.
the more I realize that most people are incredibly patient
They are.
and understanding.
Right.
They're not judging our every mistake.
No,
They're just
not.
happy we're making the effort to communicate.
Exactly. And the video really highlights that communication is about connection, not perfection.
So true.
It encourages us to shift our focus from trying to impress others to just expressing ourselves and engaging in meaningful conversations.
And you know what? When you can let go of that fear of judgment,
Yeah,
it's amazing how much more enjoyable learning becomes.
absolutely.
You're more willing to, take risks, try new things,
Yeah, experiment. Have fun with it.
even laugh at your own mistake.
Right. It's all part of the process.
The video really captures that sense of liberation
That's freeing.
that comes with embracing imperfection.
And I think that's a key takeaway for everyone.
Yeah.
To approach language learning with curiosity, playfulness, a willingness to learn from our mistakes.
So well said. This deep dive has been fantastic.
It's been fun.
It really has. You've given us so much to think about,
Glad to hear it.
like a whole new way of thinking about fluency. It's not about reaching this impossible ideal.
Right.
It's about enjoying the journey, celebrating our progress, connecting with others.
And remember, your journey with English is unique and valuable.
Absolutely.
Keep exploring, keep practicing,
Right.
and most importantly, have fun with it.
Couldn't agree more.
You got this.
So to everyone listening, I'm curious, what real-life situation will you confidently tackle in English today?
Yeah, good question.
Maybe it's ordering your coffee in English.
Love it.
Or having a chat with a native speaker.
Nice.
Or finally watching that movie without subtitles.
You can do it.
Whatever it is, no matter how big or small,
Yeah.
we want to hear about it.
Share your stories.
Share your experiences. Let's keep this conversation going.
For sure.